more and more, your virtual brand, how you show up on the web, is a critical part of your success. That's because today, everyone is using Google to evaluate you. They might be using Google to find you. And how do you make sure you're found? If you're not found, you're missing out on opportunities. And if someone is evaluating you, when they do Google you, does it help them want to connect with you, or do they move on to the next person they might be evaluating? Here's what happens when somebody Googles you. They actually look at 5 different measures to make a determination about who you are and whether you're right. They are volume, relevance, purity, diversity, and validation. Volume is how much content is there on the web about you. If there's a lot of content, clearly you have something to say. Relevance is how consistent is this content with who this person says they are or who I need them to be. Purity is all about whether people can find out what content's about you versus other people who share your name. Diversity speaks to multimedia content. Is all the content that shows up on the web about you text-based, or are there images and videos to help support your message? And validation is all about others speaking on your behalf. If all the content on the web is just you telling people how great you are, it's less powerful than integrating that with feedback from others, right? Recommendations and endorsements and so forth. So let's take each of these really quickly and think about how you can improve in volume, relevance, purity, diversity, and validation. Volume and relevance. Take what you've done in LinkedIn and import it into sites like re.vu or Visify. It'll take your LinkedIn content and create 2 new sites with information about you. Then you can customize them and they become a little bit of your brand message to others, linking different online communications to let people know who you are. You could review books at Amazon.com related to your area of expertise. This becomes part of your online ID. Write blog posts and so forth, or comment on other blogs, especially popular blogs. That will help that show up on those important first pages in Google. In fact, 87% of people don't go beyond page 1 in Google, so you just want to make sure page 1 is incredible about you. Now, purity. If you have a common name, people may not be able to determine what content's about you. So you want to find a way to make sure they get that content. The goal is to put your content on page 1 and move the other people who share your name on page 2, 3, 4, 57, and so forth. How do you do that? Well, you want to have relevant content with your name in it in the most popular sites. So find the blogs that are most popular, get yourself quoted in the Wall Street Journal or the International Herald Tribune. Find the sites where you're going to show up high. The more your name is repeated, the higher the chance it will also show up on page 1. When we get to diversity, I'll tell you about other ways you can get to page 1. So let's jump into diversity right now. Diversity is all about telling your message not only with words, right, the 26 letters of the alphabet, but with images and video as well. So when you Google yourself, ask yourself on page 1, is it all text or are there images and video? There's something called blended search, where Google not only provides the text-based content, it will find photos and it will find videos and it displays that content alongside. If you don't have images and video, you're missing an opportunity to deliver a complete communication, to get people more emotionally connected to you. Now let's talk about validation. Validation is critical because this is where credibility comes in. It helps to get other people to reinforce what you're saying about yourself. So having recommendations in LinkedIn is important. Having client testimonials show up where they're talking about your brand and what makes you great. Having endorsements in LinkedIn is important. The more feedback you can have from others that's visible to people who are searching you, the more they're going to have a good feel for who you are and your brand as you communicate it to the marketplace. So Google yourself and ask yourself how you're doing in volume, relevance, purity, diversity, and validation. And wherever you need some help, work on that.